Don't forget, tonight at 7 p.m., that's the nighttime, Jawn will be offering lively discourse on subjects ranging from the delightful to the tragic, the subversive to the submissive, the intriguing and the pallid. These subjects will be sent to us by brainwaves we do not control and do not wish to control. The words will roll out of our bellies like the lovely songs of Hal David and Burt Bacharach, a dab of cologne, a splash of color, and the most subtle sense of danger. The three basic ingredients for any night of magical conversation. Who knows where tonight will lead? I've brought extra quarters in case we end up at a 7-Eleven playing video games into the still of the night. Please join us tonight. Attire is casual, the appetizers are on the house, and the harbor lights are beautiful this time of year. The look of love is in our eyes. Tune in for a good, old-fashioned date night. The kind we read about in the books by French authors with a hint of regal blood in their history. Their mama was a debutante and their daddy worked for the resistance movement during the war. Park on the side street so we can escape when we need to. See ya!
Three little frogs sitting on a log. One of them fell in. One frog said to the other frog, well, you better go get it. Two little frogs sitting on a log. One of them fell in. Last little frog, he sat and thought, good thing they can swim. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Three little frogs sitting on a log. One burst into a grin. One frog said to the other frog, wonder what's got into him. Two little frogs sitting on a log. One laughed until he was red. Last little frog, he sat and thought, must have been something I said. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Oh yeah. I don't see us on the show though. There we are. Glorified podcast. Welcome to Jabber Jawn. I am Nathan Moore.
I'm Kyle Hogg. I'm Steve Moore.
We need a arriving song. We do an arriving song and a leaving song. And I got a new toy. Last time we were together, I was showing that I took my old metal resonator guitar and put a nut extender so I could play it like a dobro. And next thing you know, I see on Facebook Marketplace, this guy's selling a dobro. And I'm like, well, gosh, I guess I should go look at it at least. And so the timing was sort of perfect. Christiana was going to D.C. to get a new rescue dog. They got 3 dogs now. They just got a new member of the family, Apollo. Apollo, welcome to the family.
Love you, Apollo.
Sweet little soul. Came from South Korea. It was it was found near death, just riddled with every injury and things you could imagine. They fixed him up, sent him to Christiana, and now he's here. And really, he's just sweet soul. He and Percy immediately were like little puppies together. So that's the whole thing. But they were on their way so Catherine was going to go with her to D.C. to get this dog. And so it just worked out that Catherine was getting off work in Harrisonburg. I had to go to Rockingham County to meet Daryl to take a look at this dobro. So Catherine just went right to Daryl's house from work. And this guy's like 74 years old, lives out in the county in Mennonite country. Right next to him was a Mennonite farm. I could see horses and buggies down there going. So it was all just sort of perfect. So Cristiano and I rode and met Kether at Daryl's, and then we all three sat in his living room for about a half hour while I checked out this dobro, and just pulled the trigger. It was just a great serendipitous moving the pieces on my chessboard, and I did not see this coming, but I am so in love with this instrument.
No, when you saw it, did you say this is dope, bro?
Dope, bro.
This is dope, bro.
Went to it's getting me out of the house too. Like I took the metal resonator to Marina's on Friday and took this guy to Marina's on Tuesday. Might head back there tomorrow night. Now that I'm learning a new instrument, it's such a good pick and party sound that I'm back in the loop. Getting out there in so many different ways at the moment, which is feeling good. Got a show coming up May 17th at Sagebird Cider Brewery in Harrisonburg on May 17th with 2 other songwriters. And so, yep, spring is here, getting out of the bear's coming out of the cave. But this is
Where do you get your nut extender?
You need one? I bought a couple extra because I figured.
You got some? I'd like to look at.
I figured I knew some people that might be interested in such a thing.
All right.
They are metal.
Well, of course.
Yeah, well, of course.
It's not the old wooden ones you're used to.
Well, I grew up on the wood. I know it when they switched over.
This particular dobro was made. I did a deep dive on its origin, and I couldn't find out a whole lot because this was custom made by a guy named Harry James. You can see his logo up there, James. And the parts, the guts, all come from the preeminent dobro manufacturer called Beard. I think they're up in Maryland, but here in the United States. So the guts came from Beard, which is all the pros play Beard. But this guy is just a luthier. He passed away in 2015. He made 107 dobros in his life.
And that's one.
And this is number 29.
Wow.
Number 29. Isn't that amazing?
That is cool.
It's just a whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And he obviously knew what he was doing.
So the guy you bought it from, did he get it from that guy?
Not directly. I wish he had, because I had so many questions. I was trying to find him, and the only information I could find on him was a forum when he was in bad health. I found a forum thread where everybody's like, "Was anybody heard an update on Harry?" And then there's like 7 different people that just chiming in, like one of the sweetest people, sweetest persons I've ever met in my life, and everybody's like, "Oh, praying for Harry," and he and his wife are just the real deal, sweet. Just so it's more a testament to his personality and people just caring about him. I didn't find a whole lot of information about his actual instruments, but I don't know. I just had a good feeling about it. So it's a rare thing, and there's not a lot of people coming up that are going into that line of work. So they're all going to be coming from China. Except for I hear the Beard is passing his business down to his son, so that's always good to hear. So that's going to stay in the family. Oh, Silas's mic got bumped.
Something is going on with your mic a little bit. It might just be your hair.
Oh, my beard scratching it?
Maybe,
I wonder where my safety pin is.
It sounded okay right now, though, I think. Let me
Oh,
know.
here we go. All right, any more questions while I fix my mic real quick?
Yeah, something keeps going.
Would that be my hair? It's some wiry beard hair. I'll tell you what. Speaking of beard, this is what it sounds like.
Maybe it was perking up every time I heard his name. Every time you said Beard, it was saying what?
But I really didn't see this path ahead of me, but I am so going down it. It is such a revelation to play an instrument like this. And it's so fun too, because it's just such a fun accompanying instrument. Like, I feel like if you're like a songwriter or musician at a pick or something, and if you see a dobro coming, you light up a little bit. You're like, oh, nice. I know as a songwriter, if I see a dobro walk into the pick, I'm just like, yes.
Those
let's
merinos
go.
usually, or is that a common thing to see there, or not really?
Not. Luckily, it's not like a guitar or something. Like Ted Lawhorn, he still plays, but he doesn't. He plays an electric one and brings a little amp with him. So we're not like competing. We're not exactly the same sound. And I can watch his fingers and learn little tricks from him. I wrote a little song last night that I think I'll start off with. Thank you, Van Hollen, for going where you go. Off to see the bodies in El Salvador. No one here will tell us just what's going on down in El Salvador, where they go, going gone. Thank you, Van Hollen, for doing what you do. You shouldn't have to be so brave just to learn the truth. No one here will tell us just what's going on down in El Salvador, where they go, going gone. Thank you, Van Hollen, when you're done, hurry home. I know your family wants to hug you and see you free from harm. Just like any other family, you can't just carry on. When one of you's missing, you all go, going gone. Going gone.
There you go.
There you go.
Up
Thank
to the-
you, thank you.
Up to the minute.
Yeah, apparently he got denied.
What's what I heard? Yeah, well, that's so brave to do that.
It's
that
brave.
they don't know
It's
that
it's
just
we
to put
it's.
him in there and just say you're gone too.
I was having like Jim Jones flashbacks. Remember that story?
Yeah.
You remember that in real time? When that senator went down there to check on the people at Jim Jones's place, and they killed him on his way back to the airport because somebody slipped him a note, and the cult couldn't let him come back. But I was definitely flashing on that for obvious reasons. But it's sad how brave it is, but it's very brave what he's doing to go down there. And I have a feeling that one of the reasons why that guy he went to check on is never getting out is because he's seen too much already.
I think that's probably what a lot of people were thinking too. Be hard for them to rationalize some of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's better just to sweep it all away and deny it and
And we don't even know what they're doing, really.
No. Yeah. Well, that's like you say. I think that's what they want us to keep doing. They want us to stay that way,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's going to work. We'll see. It's another interesting little incident along the way here.
What don't you think is going to work?
I don't think the strategy that the administration is doing, the way that they're handling some of the things that they do, they just can't keep sweeping it under the table and ignoring it. They're going to get caught up in it, and it's all going to come out. I don't know if it's all going to come out, but
Right.
it's breaking down. It
It's
hasn't
not going
been
to take hold.
it
take,
hasn't
take
been well.
root.
It has not been well orchestrated
There are too
or
many
planned,
mistakes.
and I think that's is catching up with them now.
What if it has been well orchestrated to a certain extent? Like
Well,
that.
then it'll play out,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see what's going to happen. I mean, some of it, I'm sure. I'm sure all of it's been designed a lot better than I could, than I know anything about. I don't know that much about it,
Mm-hmm.
but there are people that do, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it works. But my feeling is, as someone just watching it play out, is that they've moved too fast and broken too many things too quickly, and it's just kind of catching up with them, and it's getting into a big old ball of yarn that they can't get. You try to get it out over here, and it pulls on over there and tightens up, and it just wasn't well planned. I mean, they try to do too much all at once without seeing how things would lay out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I think's happened with the tariffs. It's just, some of the ideas that he's trying to propose, he should have understood are going to take time. And now he's having to react like you do on TV time, which is how he lives, on what's in the news today. And the news is going to be good. In other words, if you got something that's going to take 6 months, well, that's 6 months of people on the Good Morning America trying to find something to talk about.
Right.
And
And
he
6
knows
months
that.
is
It's
quick.
It's a long.
A lot of the things I'm hearing, as far as the ambitions of the tariffs, seem like they would take a generation to achieve what they're saying.
if they were really put in for that
Definitely
reason.
not 6 months.
And I'm not saying that's what his plan was. His plan is what he's planning. I don't know his plan.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think it's, if it was going to work quickly, I don't think you should have. I don't know. I don't know that much about it. I'll just shut up.
Mm.
But that's
Yeah, I
my,
mean, nobody does. That's part
yeah.
of the
Well, my
problem.
gut feeling is it's just it's going off without a game plan below it that to react to those. This is going to happen, so that's. I don't think it went that far. I think it was. Let's see how they react to this.
Right.
It's so gross that any American supports disappearing people to a prison camp in a foreign country without any due process whatsoever. It's like if I say that there's innocent people being stuck there, which I believe there are, many perhaps, like if I was talking to someone that supports all this, they'd be like, look, they're all gang members. How do you know that? What procedure convinced you that that's the case? What court hearing, what evidence? What happened to us? Like, those ideas are cornerstones of American democracy, of a land of laws, due process. Those are like some of the most important freedoms that we claim to cherish, and we just, they're gang members.
Right.
I was hearing today that he said there was like 500,000 of them came over, and he wants one trial, and the judge said no, they're each an individual one. And he said It'll take 100 years to try all those people.
Well, we got 100 years.
so
I ain't doing nothing for
so-
the next 100 years.
I think he just wants to have, all 500,000 just shipped back with like one trial, guilty.
But it's not even being deported. They're being put into a
Yeah.
forever prison.
Right.
Nobody comes out of this place. Nobody. There's no sentence. Oh, you're serving 5 years for petty robbery or anything. It's a life sentence for every single one of them. If they were being deported, that's one conversation. But I'm freaking out because that is not what we're even talking about. We're talking about life imprisonment without a trial.
Treated as a terrorist.
Treated as a terrorist. It's unfathomable that anybody would support that for even a second.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I have no argument there because it's talking about your basic freedoms as an American. Do we have them or not?
Right.
And
But the scary, they don't even, let's say he was down there for 24 hours or 36 hours and they get him out. Can you imagine being there for 24 hours?
No.
I mean, that would be the most, you would never get over. That'd be the most horrifying. It would be like it would be, it would just never leave you.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there a month now.
I know. And people are just like, well, oh.
And I was seeing some blips today before I left, got on the road home from work on Twitter that apparently Trump, and folks, you can look into this, but apparently Trump is signaling that people who sympathize with Garcia and him not having due process could be prosecuted
Oh my God.
Well,
like citizens.
I hope he watches this show.
Don't say that. I don't want to go down there. I didn't say anything, Mr. Trump. Man, if I went in there, I would just go up to somebody and just say, kill me, please kill me.
You
right
do the
now."
whole move of picking the fight with the
Yeah,
biggest
like,
person in the yard or whatever, because that's what you, but really just as a way to kill yourself, not as a way to get cred.
I mean, this sounds stupid, but if all this, it really makes me just feel so blessed to be or anywhere. Say I'm in traffic or at work, whatever. And that really could happen to anybody. I mean, I could go backing out of my car and I saw a video, they're breaking the windows of this guy's car and stuff, dragging him out. And they just take you away. Like, y'all wouldn't know where I was and nobody would have any clue. Just, anybody heard from Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's in, what are they from, Louisiana or something for a while? God, it's so, like you said, it's just like something from, another country that you would never believe would ever happen here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know crazy bad shit happens here, but nothing, not documented where it's on the news. This guy didn't do anything. They have no proof. And then I saw a thing today, like when he had the Ukrainian leader on there, and it was all, he was detention. And then when that guy from El Salvador was there, they were all buddy and stuff, like just two gangsters sitting in there.
That meeting with the El Salvadoran president was the maybe second worst scene I've seen come from that Oval Office or whatever office it is. Did you see that? Yeah. They had the president of El Salvador at the White House. The reporter asked him about releasing this guy that was put in there by mistake. And the president mocked the reporter and said, "What am I supposed to do? Smuggle this terrorist into the United States?" Just laughed at the reporter even asking the question. What am I supposed to do? Smuggle him into the United States? So the U.S. is saying, well, they're in El Salvador, we have no jurisdiction. The president in El Salvador is saying, hey, my hands are tied. This guy is a terrorist, and the idea that I'm going to smuggle him somehow back into the United States is laughable. It's such a crazy thing.
They acted that whole thing out right there for the cameras and everything.
Yeah, I think it was act two. Because if the president of the United States called you and said, this guy didn't do anything wrong, we messed up, most countries are gonna send them back to you. It's not gonna be any hassle.
Right.
Oh gosh, clean him up, feed him real quick and get him out of here.
I mean, there's only like 3 reasons why you wouldn't do that. 1, he's dead already. 2, he's seen the facility and it's so horrific. The last thing they want is him on the morning show talking about it. And 3, this was your strategy the whole time. You want the court. You want to defy the courts. You want the courts to tell you that you can't do that, and you want to give the courts the middle finger and see how that plays out. It's every reason that you would. I mean, I guess the 4th reason, if I'm going to steel man the opposition, is that he is a criminal. And somehow he's not a U.S. citizen. He is a part of a gang, and we're falling for fake news coming the other direction about his innocence. But I still say, no matter what, the fact that there's no due process for any of these people means we never know about any individual, whether there's any evidence they ever did anything wrong. Right. We're just trusting an administration that's disappearing people off of our streets that they actually did something wrong. I mean, and I can't imagine any of them did anything worthy of a life sentence in a horrific facility in a foreign country. Like, murderers don't do that kind of time.
No, they become president.
And I imagine most of these people are guilty of being in a gang, which could be a million different stories of how you wind up in that situation from different pressures. A lot of people are pressured to be in gangs and don't want to be. They're like, you're in our gang or suffer the consequences. I mean, without having any due process to know what's going on, it's just hard for me to imagine anybody down there deserves what they're getting. That there's justice involved is.
And it's his new thing that that's just scary. We'll give you money and pay for your plane ticket if you'll just voluntarily leave. That's like the shit you warn your kids about. If the van door opens and somebody says you have candy, don't get in that van. Run, call for help.
Good point.
I mean, they load a plane up full of people, fly over the ocean, open the door, and toss them all out. They're gone. Nobody knows what happened to them.
And there's a congressman that's there right now, and for 2 days straight has been denied by a intentional roadblock set up to turn him away.
Yeah, that's the guy my song was thanking.
They won't even let him talk to him on the phone, so you wonder about his well-being,
Yeah, like the 2 miles outside of the facility, the senator's car got stopped by security and turned around.
He was like, well, can I just call him? Nope. And he wasn't even trying to, at one point, I think he was just like, well, can I just see the facility? Like, we're just trying to see where, learn anything about his well-being right now, It's just very sad and scary. It's setting a weird precedent, and people are just going to Burger King,
And now they want to double or triple the size of the facility, and Trump is already threatening to send citizens there as well.
Right. Yeah. In that same meeting, apparently there's audio of Trump saying, and homegrowns. Got to get the homegrowns too. He's like, you're going to need to build like 6 more buildings. Is what he said. You're gonna need like 5 or 6 more buildings. Joking with him as they stood
Guffaw, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. Well, there's the homegrowns. We got to get the homegrowns. You're gonna need like 5 or 6 more buildings.
Well, there you go.
You all right?
Yeah.
It's a kick in the stomach, I know.
Yeah, how's your week been? Go back to more immediate realities.
I have had a good day. I've had a rough week, but I've had a good day.
I'm glad we caught you on a good day. You're able
Yeah,
to come over.
I'm really glad to be able to get out. I haven't been able to get too far away from my bathroom, and I just haven't had much energy and been going through some depression and things like that. It's just all comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, yeah. Yeah, you just start looking at things a little differently. I've been through some interesting mental stuff, thinking about my life and what I'm trying to be and who I want to be and who I'd like to be. And we were talking about that thing you did with, what do you call that when you animate, when you make
The
not
AI.
not A1
A1 sauce.
I love A1 sauce on a steak, and I haven't had that 10 years. Now, what were we talking about? The 1A stuff.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, and I thought that was pretty interesting. 'Cause I started turning around the idea that you could make me, people could use me any way they wanted, and I don't have to do anything anymore, to the idea that if, I could hand it down, I could be like sign a lease and give it to you, and you could represent me, and then when I pass on, you can just still keep being me and be better than me, because I'm getting worse every day. I mean, this is things falling apart, but that A1 guy, he's looking good every day.
Yeah.
And that can go on forever. So in that sense, I have achieved everlasting life.
Immortality.
I'm immortal.
Mm-hmm.
And as a carp guide, I'm not good for much. I'm not, I'm not saving the world or anything, but as a carp guide, I'm going to be right up there with them. So so now what I find is what I'm looking for is somebody to come and dedicate their life to transposing my written word into the A1 guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you practice
Getting it all in there. We should put the carp guide episodes as information for the AI to.
Oh yeah, there'd be lots of.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, Dad, for many, many years, one of his many hats that he wore and titles in the community was he was a local carp guide. Now, if you were interested, he would take you out on the river and get you on a carp. I'm saying that in the parlance of the of the idiom. Did I use idiom right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
A carp is probably the biggest fish that we have here locally. Is that?
Yeah, unless you're out on the bigger stream, they have big old catfish. Around here, carp.
A catfish can get bigger than a carp?
Well, not the little catfish you grew up with around here, but down in the big rivers, the New River, and down there in James, they have blue cats and channel cats. And
oh, wow.
as you get closer to the seashore, they get bigger.
But Dad had a plaque, Steve Moore Carp Guide. He had a hat, and at a certain point, I started when I came back home. I started going out on these outings with him, with a video camera, and actually made 4.
I think there were 4.
4 episodes of Steve Moore Carp Guide. Have you seen any of these? There's
you can still see them.
Oh yeah, they're on YouTube. They're classic. They're gold. Check it on my YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure they're there. They might need to be updated for the.
If you go to YouTube and just type in Steve Moore Carp Guide, it'll take you
It'll
one up.
come right up. And there's a theme song, and it's well edited, and it's funny, and it's exciting, and.
Well, and Nathan filmed them.
Yeah, I did the filming.
But the funniest one.
Don't go right now, though. Wait.
Right. But the one with Eric is the funniest thing.
Oh my God.
His facial expressions are classic. Eric, you nailed that one.
Yeah, that is probably the classic episode. Yeah. His girlfriend at the time didn't want to kill it, and it was just all kinds.
Yeah, there were some classic moments. I always
was it a trout that he caught? Because we weren't killing a carp.
No, it was a trout.
He-
I
yeah.
had stock.
Which is unfortunate when you're out on a carp guide
Yeah,
mission and you catch a
yeah,
trout
that's a mistake.
and you got a dilemma.
I felt terrible.
Cut the camera, cut the camera. That's
Cut.
the car.
Oh,
That's a
it's just
trout. That's a trout.
Just a 15-inch rainbow. No, that was great. But yeah, you can
Fish-
go home and watch that.
Fish
So I'm
can't run,
already-
they
I'm
ain't got
already,
legs. Fish can't run, fish can't hide, fish can't. Just ask Steve Moore, Carp Guide.
There it
I
is.
can't remember the whole theme song.
Oh, that was funny.
That's close.
Yeah, you did a great job. They were little videos. So
Oh, wow.
they're still out there.
That's the stuff the future's gonna find in my little time capsule. Like my songs, maybe, but those Carp Guide episodes are gonna have a cult following someday.
Daniel, my middle son, I think he had dreadlocks.
Oh, that was a funny one, yeah.
Yeah, he was in college when we did it. So he was.
And he got one on the line, and it turns out we were too far from the net, so Dad had to go running to get the net. And
Oh, I have seen that when you ran back up to the house.
and then I put
Yeah.
funny music as he's
did see
running
that.
away. That's so good.
That was probably one of the last times I ran.
Now, talking about stuff you did, he gave me a long time, not long, maybe a couple months ago, he gave me this, you probably know about it. People were writing on emails and he would answer questions.
Oh yeah, Mr. Moore's Classroom on
Yeah, it was on his site.
This was way back in the early days of the internet.
It was like
and
2004.
It was
back
revolutionary. It was
2004.
our record label out in Santa Fe, New Mexico, frogvilleplanet.com, and we had a forum on there, and one of the rooms was Mr. Moore's Classroom, and it was just like, asked my dad anything. This is before Facebook, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Like those things didn't exist yet, so it was really, people loved it because it was like just a way to connect with other people, and Dad hosted some great conversations, and there was some lifelong friendships bonded
Orion.
from that. Orion, yeah.
Missy.
Yeah.
But so you gave me that, but you also gave me a list of quotes that you had written down. And I found this quote. Let me see if I can find it.
John Dotson says, "Love to Steve, a real man with an open mind and heart."
Oh, thank you, John. I appreciate that, brother.
That's nice.
Thanks
I
for that
feel
"Oh my
strongly
God"
good
request
about
last
you.
night too, Dotson.
I said I feel the same about him.
Nice.
He's another one of those people I've met through you that I've never met, but I feel like I know.
Mm-hmm. Quite a few of those.
Yeah, really. I've just wandered into Missy world. I love her.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But one of the quotes you had on there, which is sort
On
of,
where?
he gave me those. I was reading those things. Well, I'd read them, but now I
What
was,
things?
he had printed out some of these conversations.
Oh, from the Frogville forum?
Well, it's not called Frog. It's called something else.
Thought Swap Parlor.
Yeah.
It was mostly about this guy. They were watching The Last Waltz, and they were getting ready to go to London and wearing his leopard underwear and stuff.
What are
What
we
in the
talking
world
about?
are you talking
Where are we
about?
now?
But anyway, but also he had typed up some quotes he really liked, and what we were talking about sort of ties in. One of the quotes that you had liked and written down was, and I just wanted to get y'all's what you thought about this quote. It is only possible to live happily ever after on a day-to-day basis.
I like that. Where's that from? Where is it from?
Margaret Bonanno. Isn't that a cool quote?
Yeah, it's only possible to live happily ever after on a day-to-day basis.
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
She was a fine lady.
Oh, is that something you actually knew?
Is it an author?
No, she's a girl I dated in high school.
No.
No.
Well, she became famous, and she's a famous author. Yeah.
What's that? You caught her on a carp fishing.
She was just on a sabbatical from Peru. She had been visiting here from Peru, and
Boy, is the line between fiction and nonfiction just...
I get confused easy these days. I try to live in as many people's world as they'll let me. Because mine's boring. It's boring up there at the house. I got to do stuff.
reinvent your past.
Exactly.
So you
Yeah.
you don't have any memory where you found that quote from?
No. I'll be reading a book and I'll see one.
Can I
and
see
I'll
what
write
you're
it
looking
down.
at there, Kyle?
The difference
I
is
just,
I
I just,
write 'em
what I'm
down.
just, I'm looking at. I took a picture of the quote because I wanted. That's just he had list. He had,
Yeah,
he had a page
I
of
like
quotes.
that.
But this was a printed piece of paper Dad had.
Yeah. And then you gave me a story. A lady, some girl had written about dropping out of school and see if that was the right thing to do and how schools aren't for people. And
Who wrote it? What was that all about? I don't get that.
you just gave me like a big manila envelope of all this stuff a couple months ago.
There is more to life than increasing its speed. Gandhi. That's an interesting quote. Don't be humble. You aren't that great. How about that? So I had an official psychological evaluation.
Oh, I wanted to hear about that. Was that mandatory? Did the judge say you had to do
No,
There was that marina.
my doctor recommended it, I guess, or brought it up or whatever, and sort of got me intrigued because I've always sort of wondered if I had anything or what my gift was.
So what made him think this?
I don't know.
Like
What
No.
made you ask that question?
I mean, like you were just sitting there talking to him. And he said, you know, you might be a genius or something. What did he say? You're scaring me, or
It wasn't because I was scaring him. He wasn't concerned about me when the conversation came up.
Did you let him up off the floor?
And I didn't. And
I think,
then I let him
I think
up.
once you let me out of this chokehold, you took his seat to get some mental health.
But I didn't even know this kind of thing existed or whatever. And
No, is this the same test Trump took and got all 30 questions right?
it was way more than 30 questions, I'll tell you that.
So you don't have dementia, we're pretty sure. All right, I'll stop talking. Now, what happened?
No, that's all right.
So they wrapped you up and took you to the...
So, yeah, we went out to it was in Fishersville, and we went in, made sure insurance would cover it before I did anything. And then they took me back, and it was about 3 hours.
3 hours.
3 hours of a bunch of different tests. Some of them were really fun.
Like questions or...
It was so many things. It was very interesting. Like let me see which ones I can remember. Like the first thing she did was she brought out this little flip book, and would flip it over, and there's a bunch of dots on there, and she had a stopwatch, and I had to tell her how many dots were on the page. So she'd go boom, and I'd be like 16, and she'd go next one, and so there was like 30 of those, just how many dots are on the page. And then there was like connect the dots, 1, 2, 3, but then there was the next one was like 1 to A to 2 to B, like that. And then there was a bunch of things where she put a laptop in front of me and things would pop up on the screen, and it was being timed too, and I had to react to what I was seeing. And I mean, some of them were so fun. It was just little puzzles.
Were you nervous?
Like they would show you it was like pattern recognition. I wanted to say recognition. See, that's why I went
Recognition!
So a lot of it was just like recognizing the pattern or whatever. So it'd be like there'd be this example, and then over here there's a missing block, and I'm like have to decide like what either number or shape belongs in there based on the previous thing or whatever. So there was a lot of stuff like that. There were ones where like words would flash up on the screen, and it would spell the word red, but it would be the color blue, and I had to like only tap on things that were blue, or you know what I'm saying. So I'd be fooled by it says red but written in blue ink, and then there was just like the final thing was just like 344 questions that I had to put on a scale of never to always to in all shades in between.
Wow.
It was
gosh, that must have run the gamut right there. That many questions.
that yeah, it was that it took a long time.
Like personality
That
stuff.
there was a couple of them that I just loved. I was like, oh my god, this is so fun. And one of the ones I loved was it was like they were riddles. They were like one word answers, and I wish I could remember some of them, but I really can't. But it'd be like it's a picture usually of a person's face or something like that. I'm like portrait. So they were just like riddles with a one word answer.
So what did they find?
They found out that
He's got 2 months to live.
they they found out that I have above average intelligence and I have ADHD. Attention deficit hyperactivity gift. It should be G.
You ready to go? we gotta get out of here.
You won't notice.
He's so wrapped up in himself over there. No, wait a minute. So did this happen and they like a couple of days later they told you, or you just like boom,
A week later. I had already gone before last Thursday. But we got on such a roll talking that we didn't talk about it, and then I got the results on Tuesday.
No, do they give you like an explanation of what that means or how it
They're sending it in
affects
the
you?
mail, the more thorough paperwork. But she talked to Catherine and I for about 20 minutes on the phone.
Now,
laying
is
that-
she your psychologist?
No,
or
it's
a
just-
just a tester.
I mean, I'm not sure what all they do at that place. I've never been to a place like that.
Right. I didn't know they could do that like that.
Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Well, did that give you any feeling of, did that explain anything or make you feel better, or you didn't really you had no concern?
I mean, I think the reason I went is because and I forget how it came up in conversation, but the doctor was like, he was like, I bet you do really good or whatever, because I was more intrigued about the intelligence part of it than it wasn't that I'm like deeply I've always been curious if I had ADHD. I mean, I always said,
But isn't there a difference between a psychological evaluation and a an intelligence test?
yeah, I was surprised that they were both combined.
I mean,
Or
is that what they were saying, that they did both?
it was a bit of both. Like those riddles don't make any sense on any other level. Like the riddles aren't measuring my attention span or whatever. It was sort of a depth of knowledge they were tapping into, and pattern. I don't know. Like a lot of the pattern recognition, and a lot of it felt like an IQ test.
Right.
Did it
So-
give you an IQ number score?
No, not an. I'll look through the paper. We can go through the paperwork when it comes. We can dedicate a whole episode to that. I'll just be like Lenny Bruce reading court transcripts at my show from
Yeah,
here on out.
the way you're
according to this.
The way you're talking about it was like it was enjoyable and stuff, but when you went there, were you nervous, like before it started, or like?
I wasn't nervous. The only thing I was nervous about was that it was going to take too long or whatever. Definitely not or cost money. Those are the only two things I was worried about. The rest was just fascinating to me, because I've always said my whole life that I got sort of grandfather claused in, because based on my personality and the way I was in school, if I had been born 10 years later, I definitely would have been put on medication like they do to so many kids these days.
Yeah.
You know, I started hearing about that, all the Ritalin and Prozac. I was like, man, I definitely would have been one of those kids. Like,
Yep.
Stephanie tells me almost every day, you're on the spectrum. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, Catherine tells me that a lot too.
Well, if
Thanks, dear.
you need to be on a spectrum.
Well, you got to be. Everybody's on a spectrum.
Everybody's on the
Yeah, but see,
spectrum.
Otherwise, you're just monochromatic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've been that before. That is painful. Boring.
Wow.
Oh, two things. Looking at the chat. Hey, howdy, Shell. Good to see you. Just watching on YouTube, and it looks like we maybe lost connection and reconnected. I guess are
goodness.
we? Anybody that's out there watching, say something in the chat because I see on our
Oh yeah, I see
Discord
that.
server that
On
it
air now.
we
Just
went
happened.
on air now,
Every-
just a few minutes ago.
We didn't drop in viewers, so I don't think so.
All right.
All right.
I've been watching it,
Well,
unless it's lying to us.
Chad is being chatty.
So what do you
So-
think? Are you surprised by that, Dad? That I have ADHD?
Well, no. Although I wouldn't say you were. I think you have the ability to focus better than a lot. If you're talking about the spectrum, I don't think you're high on that part of it. What I do see is the jumping from thing to thing, the dobro to there's an old milk cow out in Fishersville. Well, I bet she could make a funny sound if you twist that tit right.
Well,
And you'll be out there next week.
tune
you
in
know.
next week for my very special leaving song.
So I see you jumping from thing to thing, but that I don't see you unable to focus,
Struggling
which
with
is,
it.
I think, of what happens in school a lot of times. And a lot of that's not it's blamed on the boring subject or it's not worth listening to, so you shut off. But but I think some kids, obviously on the spectrum, that you would say really have a problem with it. So in other words, like you said, a gift, sometimes definitely a gift. In many cases, your main scientific discoveries probably came from that type of spectrum analysis, if you wanted to go there. But I think you're looking at the end of the spectrum where you can't concentrate on a subject for any length of time to master it, and you can't concentrate. Well, that's when I think obviously some people have that problem. I don't think you have that problem.
Right.
You learn things. You get absorbed in something, but you can go down a deeper hole. So you can actually learn something. What happens with an advanced form is you move away before you can learn anything.
Before you get anything from
You're
it.
not learning anything, but you're just jumping around.
Right.
And that's just one form.
It was funny. A lot of the questions, I was like there were questions like, do you think the work that you do could someday make you famous?
Wow.
And I'm like, well, yeah, but
Now,
I'm an artist.
well,
like
that-
I just felt like as an artist,
It's not a fair question.
there's like
not.
if a plumber says that, then that's one thing. If an artist says that, it's like there were so many questions that as an artist that
That's what I was going to ask you. Were the questions modeled to you, or it's just
no, that's the thing.
Okay.
But I feel like that's sort of interesting because I feel like as an artist that my honest answer to a lot of questions would have been completely a red flag for anybody that is just in a regular profession. Like, could your work make you famous? But it's not because delusions of grandeur necessarily. It's just the nature of the game that I play. Like there's parts of that that.
But also, it depends on how you define failure and success, and they wanted you to know if you want to be famous, whether who are you famous to? Like, I want to be famous in a certain way or a certain number of people, but that might be only 25 people. But famous and notorious are totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
And You know, if anybody would like to be famous in a good way, but nobody wants to be famous in a bad way, but so they don't even talk about that. But they've already
Right.
decided before you walked in whether you were smart or not. They just make up the questions to fit what.
Now, you said it was a lady that was doing it with you?
Mm-hmm.
Was she actively involved, or she just basically sat back? Did they record you or wrote down your answers, or?
No, that everything was very multiple choice,
Oh,
kind of like
okay.
there was no even the one thing that had like a verbal, that riddle thing I was saying were one word answers. So there was never like a sentence that I said that was part of the test or whatever.
And this is something anybody can take, or like you'd have to have your, now I want to take one.
Say again?
Now I want to take one, or do you have to have your
Well,
insurance?
you should. Everybody should. I highly recommend it. Your insurance, it's not cheap though, but our insurance covered it.
Wow.
Did you have to have a reason for the insurance, or is
That's a
like
good-
he's
that's a
going
good
shaking
question.
around as far as needing to know? You know, you kind of know who you are, don't you?
Look at him looking me up and down.
Well, look at you. I mean, you have to
Just
know
look at
who
his
you are.
shoes.
Look at you. You can just see who you are right there in the mirror. Why do you have to go ask some?
Why you want to quantify it?
Why do you have some stranger?
Why
to
does
analyze?
everything have to be official to you? Just believe what people tell you.
Exactly. Exactly. Believe what you want to believe. My goodness, life's too short.
Would you do it?
Would I do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but see, I'm different from you. I'd be nervous. I'd be so nervous going in there.
Why would you be nervous?
I had to get my job. You have to have an insurance license. You had to be fingerprinted. Whatever. I was nervous. The guy said, "Why are you shaking?" I was so nervous having my fingerprints taken. I was like, "Man," I was out there. This guy was like, "You got to stop shaking. What's wrong?" I was like,
Now there's background to everything. He's wanted in 14 states.
I'd driven the car out there, opened the hood, and pressed my hands around the engine. Ah! Trying to burn off as much as I could. Why are your fingers blistered so much?
I thought that would work. I shouldn't have told you to do that.
John Dodson says, what percentage of those questions would you have answered differently 20 years ago?
Ooh,
I mean, like I say, the majority of them were how many dots are on this page and how fast can you tell me that? So that would have to do with my quickness. Like the riddles, I feel like was definitely tapping into accumulated knowledge. Like there were a lot of questions in the riddle part of the thing that seemed like life experience taught you those things from
Now, did they tell you don't be funny? Like the one you said it wasn't really on there, but one it's usually a square. It's usually got a picture on it. Like they don't want you to be Mr. Jokester and say a wanted poster. Oh, it's got to be one word, right?
mm-hmm.
But did they tell you just go?
Yeah,
with
they
this?
wouldn't factor in your sense of humor.
Okay, so they just
but
tell
I
you.
am very curious as to how that part worked. There was one question that I was like, no, wait, I want to go back and change my answer to the last one.
Oh, you
And
did?
she was like, there's more than one right answer possible for these. But I wonder how they quantify that on their end. I'm not sure.
Right.
Like when I said portrait, what, do they show like 3 possible right answers? Because there were definitely right answers to a lot of them. I felt like I hit that one out of the park. I got to the end of it and I was like, man, I crushed that. Can we do more of those, please? But it was also like doing a crossword puzzle or something. I felt like a younger me wouldn't have known the answers. Like, and it's just accumulated little bits of knowledge. So I'm not sure how that played into the
Well, that's
overall.
interesting. I wonder if they have different ones for your age range.
That's a good question.
Wow.
Do you have a question, Lex?
No, I had a thought coming, but it went away.
And then they call you and say this. Do they say nothing to worry about? Just it, or?
Here's the results.
I wonder if you wanting to
requesting to change your answer on the previous question, please. Into
Right, if she puts a little note next to it on that.
Yep, he has.
Oh, he
How
went
many
back.
times?
He had to
Just
go back.
once.
Can I read them all one more time, please?
I wish I'd like secretly recorded it or something. I don't know what I would have done with it, but just to remember, I'd love to just ask you guys some of the questions because they're.
No, did you want
they're
to smoke
fun.
when you left there?
Well, I don't smoke.
But you didn't feel they didn't.
I
know
had
you-
my nicotine gum with me. They had lots of snacks. I brought home 3 little squeezy brains for juggling with Elliot next time they come over because I was looking for something to juggle with, and they had these stress relieving brains that you can squeeze. Gosh, maybe I shouldn't be saying this out loud. I took 3 of those because I was like, oh, we could juggle with these. Doo-doo-doo. Speaking of being wanted in 14, yeah.
All right.
And they had lots of chips and candy and stuff lying around. So
So you can just sit there and.
I was eating some Cheetos. I was living it up in there. Stuff you don't like, vacation vibes, road trip.
See, I would be. That would not be. I'd be drenched in sweat.
Oh my.
Hey, God's watching this flat Earth. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Joe Warren. Good to see everybody.
Yeah. I don't know if we have any stories that can top that one. What if Trump had used that to say you were crazy and had just hauled you out of there to
Hey, I mean-
El
That's it.
Salvador?
That was it. You went on the list.
Got another ADHD over there in Stanton, Virginia.
Oh my gosh. I can't think about it.
I guess they changed that over the years. It used to just be ADD, attention deficit disorder. Then they added hyperactivity.
Wow.
What's going on?
The Catholic Church.
John Dotson wants to know if we are introverts or extroverts.
That's an interesting question for me because I know that I have strong characteristics of both.
Me too. I might have got that from you.
Yeah. I will say less and less with the extrovert, but that's mainly just my situation in life right now. But
Yeah, your personality is not different. Your stamina is different.
yeah, and my need to be out there. Since I don't drink and I don't enjoy food like I used to, and don't have or go sit on the porch or do something. I always have a little or go sit on the porch or do something. I always have a little something to do, and so in other words, I like that time. I enjoy being alone, but I also have always enjoyed being around people. But one of the things, as a school teacher for my whole life, either I was in a classroom, being a kid, or being a teacher, I felt like I was around people all the time. I was
And coaching.
and coaching too. So, and then I'd have parties and things at the house and everybody. But, so when I was home alone, it was great. And, or just with the boys or whatever. But, I like being alone, and I enjoy being alone. I see it as a treat. And so now that I'm retired, most days when I'm feeling good and I'm all right, a good day, I'm really happy not to have to go anywhere,
Right.
or I don't have to go, meet somebody somewhere. That I can plan my day, and if I don't plan it, that's fine too. Make daytime Jeopardy at 12:30 and take my nap, and then figure out the rest of the day.
Definitely when I was growing up, your friend group and y'all were very gregarious. I would say on a local level, notorious.
Well, I don't know how notorious we were, but
As far as the extrovert thing, I mean, you guys were,
we had a lot of fun.
yeah,
And it was
obvious fun.
And and it evolved into families too. We started out being young bucks, and does, and ended up all having kids and families. So, but we stayed together in lots of ways, and we're still meeting once a month at Marino's.
That's great.
So yeah, that's been a pleasure to associate with those guys. It's good times.
Aho.
Aho.
How about you, Kyle? Extrovert or introvert?
Introvert.
You're an introvert, but you're always doing stuff.
You're always out.
You're always out, like
But I don't
way.
talk to people or do anything. I'm out.
But your writing is the most extroverted writing in the world. So
Good observation.
you're home writing about your extroverted self.
All right, you convinced me. I'm an extrovert.
I'm out now.
I don't want to cause any scene by arguing, so I just go along with it. I'm an extrovert.
But it is an interesting thing to identify so strongly as an introvert, and I can see that in your personality. But at the same time, you do more than any of us combined out in public. Like the minute we can't do a Jabberjohn, you're like, all right, well, I already made plans to go to dinner with.
Cool, I got 10 options, so just let
Yeah,
me
all
know.
right, yeah. I mean, how many things did you turn down to be here with us tonight, you introvert? How many people are out there sad
I was
you couldn't
actually
make it?
crawling into a hot tub with some people because I wasn't sure about tonight.
Right,
But I can get out.
I mean, I got one foot in this hot tub right now. Just let me know if we're on or not. Dang introvert.
Gotcha.
But y'all don't see me if I'm
He's
out.
the notorious famous introvert about town.
He's been on
Everybody
CNA,
knows his name.
ABC, NBC. He's on Jimmy Fallon tonight.
Wanted in 14 states, I hear.
The most introverted guy we've ever met.
He's on all the networks at the same time.
His movie will be out Thursday and Friday.
That he wrote himself.
Yeah,
And he's
his-
directing it and starring in it.
and the autobiography is out.
I am working on a play.
Oh, good.
I just started it yesterday.
Is there 3 characters?
It's
Any
act-
scenes with 3 people that we could do here on the show?
I'm going to tell you the play because it's the play. It's a couple nights ago. Me and Stephanie were in bed. And we were like, she usually listens to music. We were just laying there, falling asleep, and she
What
goes,
do you do?
I pleasure myself until I fall asleep.
She listens to music like on a speaker or in headphones?
No, like I have like a little Bose speaker, and so she'll like say, "What do you want to listen to?" I'm like, "Whatever." But so usually if like I'm alone, I'll listen to like old like detective stories, like the old classic, 1950s stuff. So she said, "You want to listen to a story? I don't have any music I want to play." And I said, "Yeah." And she's found one. She goes, "I feel like listening to something scary." And I was like, "Okay." And she found this one. It was called 50 Horror Stories to Fall Asleep to.
Oh, wow.
And it was basically the exact same theme, which we all know these themes. It was the guy, the first one was like, he moves into this apartment, he goes down to the basement, there's a locked door, and he opens it, and there's pictures of himself in there.
Of himself?
Yeah, he doesn't know how they're getting in there, and he goes down, he always changes. And then he's like, that's the end of the
Pictures of himself currently?
Yeah, like somebody's watching him. So that story ends.
It just ends?
Well, it's like maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
It's not solved?
No, he doesn't know who. It's just.
Oh, they're just like hanging.
Yeah, it leaves you hanging. So the next one, it's a guy. It's funny because we were saying, "Damn, this dude needs to get out of town." So because it's one guy reading it, so it sounds like it's happening to this one guy. So the next one, he goes to work and somebody's leaving notes in his desk. And then the next one, like he's everywhere he goes, he sees this hooded jogger following him. So it's always just this just the common theme. Somebody's watching. You're somebody you don't know is watching you. And so we were sort of laughing, But so then the next day, but all of them had that same theme. Somebody's watching you. You don't know who they are, whatever. So I was thinking about getting a haircut. And so Stephanie said, well, there's these apps you can do where it'll show you what you look like in these haircuts. And they looked, I've got them on my phone. They look terrible. Made me feel terrible about myself. And I was like, God. So
It's an app that shows you what you look like with different.
Text me some we got.
Oh my God. You should see these pictures. So anyway, these things were so bad, I just busted out laughing. I was like, man, I'm gonna write a play where it's like this guy, like every day on his phone, he gets this thing. I know what you would look like in this haircut. It's like a terrible. And the play would just be like behind the guy would be a screen. It would just show what he looked like, and the crowd would just like bust out laughing because how bad he looks in these pictures. Let me see if I can find some of them. And so the guy that writes plays, that does that for a living, I asked him if he could help me write a play. I mean, y'all can't scroll through all my stuff I write, but let me just see. If I hold this up to the camera, can you see it?
Is it a picture of you in different haircuts?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I'll just show you guys.
Joe Warren says, after 35 years of teaching and being on, I now am much more of an introvert. Yeah, I relate to you.
So I don't know if you can see him. It's like there's. Ooh. So.
Ooh, he says.
So the story, the play would be like a guy just sitting there and somebody said,
Oh my
This guy's
goodness.
like, somebody, like each day you get a picture. I know what you would look like with this hairdo. And the guy's like, I
Go
didn't
ahead
know.
and hold it up there.
I
See
didn't
what
know who
happens.
was sending these pictures. I didn't know what to do.
Bring it down a little bit. Closer. Closer, closer, closer. Closer, closer, closer.
Look to your left on the computer screen over there. Oh, it's not going to focus. That's all right.
But so it would be like a one-person play. Like they do the same thing. Went to work and I was sitting at work and I got a text from somebody I didn't know who it was, and it says, "I know what you look like in this hairstyle." And then behind me would just be like a screen showing me that hairstyle.
So what's the dialogue, or are there any other characters? It's a one-person play.
It would basically be the same as those stories that guy was reading. And then I went to work the next day. And then, so I guess I could be.
So it's a 5-minute play.
Well, I guess you could put in some stuff like he would tell his friends, "Are y'all sending me these? Who's sending me these pictures?" I know what you would look like in this hairstyle. And then we go up there and the crowd is like, "Oh my god!" But I didn't really know how to make it a play. So my friend, right when he was coming down the street, he said, "I sent you like a working thing we can work on."
Oh wow! Well, what did he send you?
I told him I can't look at it right now because he was actually seeing him walking down the street, so I didn't look at it. But it's just like, but anybody could do it. Anybody could read the play and have themselves sitting there reading it, and behind them on a screen these bad haircuts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not really that funny, except for most of the people that knew you or something could just be like, I mean, you could put it on here, Oh my God.
Well, I can't wait.
But it made me feel so bad how terrible I looked. Instead, it's like it's just the thing that makes you look bad. You don't look bad. And then she was sending me like pictures of my normal self. This is what you look like. I was like, no, all I see was that hair hanging down over my head, ill-fitting wig. She said, I have more of them. I said, no, you've already made me feel bad about myself. Don't send me any more.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, so if you ever wanted something to make you feel like you haven't done good, try the hair app.
What's the app called? Plug our new sponsor.
That's right. They are one of those.
Don't.
Yeah, it's
I
been,
know,
it's
we
been
haven't
a
had
minute.
it after Disney took us over last week.
I guess now we're brought to you by the Fishersville Psychiatric Institute
Yeah,
and
and the hair app.
the hair app. This episode brought to you by.
Introverts Anonymous.
Now, I saw last week, if you had known earlier, you could have gone. They had over at Montgomery Hall Park, they had an autism ADHD, like a little get-together.
What would that be?
It was like I guess people that have it went over there and just had like a little outing. You could play music over there.
I've been thinking that would be a fun summertime activity to start hosting picks at like the Montgomery Hall Park pavilions. There's or in
Love
Gypsy
it.
Hill.
They got little fireplaces in the ones over there.
The only thing that scares me about it is you have to It's first come, first serve, no reserving. Is that right? Am I right about that?
That is right. That is right.
So it feels like you get the word out, and then you're rolling the dice that you're all going to show up, and a family will already have taken it. But it seems like such a fun way to do it. Just do it like potluck style. Like, hey, Sunday, 5 o'clock, let's all pick at Montgomery Hall Park potluck.
I'm sure if
no one has to host. It would just be so fun.
I'm sure if a family was there, you'd drive them off pretty quick.
Just scare them out.
I hate giving away all my good ideas. Somebody's probably gonna steal my play while I'm sitting here. They're probably already
That's
typing.
true.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
typing-
somebody's already.
They're
That's-
typing
that's
it up
already being shot
But the
right
other
now.
good idea, and I don't know if this is a good idea, but I wrote it down. It was good enough that I actually wrote it down so I wouldn't forget about it. You know, I live right by the art hive, right behind my house, and they have
How are
classes.
they doing? Any updates? Or
They're doing good. They have a coffee shop there now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've opened up a little thing in the back.
they're selling coffee?
The guy makes his own coffee, grinds
What?
the beans and everything.
He roasts his own coffee?
Yeah. Catnap coffee.
Alright.
But so they had these classes, so it'll be like whatever. I mean, all kind of classes for everything. And I thought my idea was it would be, I would be like, okay, so if like the teacher says at 5 o'clock we're gonna have a class, I would have this thing where it'd be at 5 o'clock, come teach me a craft. So anybody could just show up, and I guess first come, first serve. Anybody could come teach me how to do something. So nobody would know what it was going to be till the person got there to teach me. Well, I guess it wouldn't be just me; it'd be whoever else would come. But I thought you could have like kids come in, or like some little kid would tell their mom, "Oh, I love to make jewelry out of macaroni or something." So we would all have to sit there and do whatever anybody does. It wouldn't be like a professional teaching you how to do. Well, I guess it could be. But it would also give any goofball in town that wanted to just show what they could do.
Yeah, they could bring a deer up there. Here's how you dress one.
You never know.
Taxidermist.
Yeah. You better know how to make a meth lab. Come on, baby.
So they just show up at your house?
No, it would be an art hive.
Oh, at the art hive.
Yeah.
But anybody could host it.
Well, no, I would, instead of being like at 5 o'clock, I'll teach you how to do, stamp a ceramic box. It would be, come teach Kyle something at 5 o'clock.
You might get some real freaks to show up.
That's what I was thinking, man. It'd be so cool.
It would be cool.
Especially for an introvert.
It'd be fun if there was like a drawing and people just got selected randomly to teach you something. Like they might not even have signed up for it, but they got to teach you something like that they know how to do. Because everybody's got something they can
Well,
show you how to
that's
do.
what I thought too. If nobody wanted to teach me something that week, I wouldn't have to do it. Because I think it's sad. Sometimes I go in there and somebody's there teaching a class. There's like one person there or something. You go to a bookstore and see somebody signing and nobody's at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when I'm really an introvert. Because I want to say something to them, but I just all these little craft fairs I go to. If there's nobody else at the table, I just keep walking. Even if I want to buy something, I can't talk to them by myself.
Boy, that's the trials and tribulations of the about town introvert. I tell you what.
The extra introvert.
I do that. I do that all the time. I'll be like, man, I'll be walking home like, man, that stuff looks so cool. I wish somebody else could. I mean, how long can I wait around till somebody else goes over there and looks with me?
That's a good one.
But then, so I wouldn't even. I guess you'd have to sign up. I'm gonna teach you how to do whatever.
Breakdance. I'll come teach you how to break
Oh man.
Oh man, see, you
I still know
should.
some moves.
Did you ever break dance?
No,
No. You ever pop?
I still do that.
Yeah.
I remember when do you remember where the Wharf Deli and Pub was?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. That was my first gig ever.
Oh, wow.
I used to work in the kitchen there, and we got all the food came in big cardboard boxes and stuff. And there was kids would always come and just lay the cardboard in that back parking lot where just employees are supposed to park. And you'd be like in the kitchen, look out, and there'd be like 10 kids out there.
It was a whole thing. Yeah, I remember those cardboard circles. Boy, that was something. Wow, you might have been cooking there when I did my first gig ever, when I was like 15 years old. Wharf Deli and
I
Pub.
was there like in 83 and 84 maybe.
The math is lining. Well, you're maybe 2 years before. Nana saved the clipping from the newspaper. I still got the original ad that was in the Stanton Leader.
Oh,
Nathan Moore at the
wow.
Wharf Deli and Pub. It's probably like 86.
Wow. My brother might have been working there then.
I'll never forget walking in there. I was so nervous. I was, 15, 16 years old. Walked in there and I was like, I'd like to play here. I'd like to perform here. And the guy was like, well, just audition style. He's like, why don't you get up there and sing me a couple? And so I got up on the stage and plugged my guitar in, or maybe it was a microphone. And then he was like, you just go ahead. And then he just leaves the room. And I'm like in this empty room singing. And he would walk through and just seemed like he wasn't really paying any
Was it
attention. He
Wade?
wasn't sitting there. I don't know who it was. But then, that story's not really going anywhere. But I got the gig.
And then the lights went off.
It was just
your-
funny that
the
I was
lights
like
went off
so
your
nervous
door.
and like, but then he just like left me alone up there and like was sweeping and doing stuff around the place while I was singing these songs. Probably like some Jimmy Buffett.
You need to hurry up. We got a couple of dancers coming in to try out next.
I got the gig.
Did you just do it that one time, or you did it for like a repeating show or something?
I feel like I played there again after the first one.
Well, you guys started somewhere. That's good.
Yeah, it was cool. I was proud of myself for doing it.
They always had good crowds. You would go in there and hang out.
Oh, yeah, I've been known to hang out there.
Yeah, there's some good shit. I remember that Wanda and the White Boys used to play there regularly. That was a cool little venue.
was
They
a
had that
fun-
upstairs
nice-
with the
yeah.
stage. And
Yeah, I liked it up there.
what is that place now? Any idea?
No, haven't been in that area for a while.
Has anybody been to the lounge yet?
The lounge.
Next to the depot? It's like the owner of the depot opened that real fancy looking place called the lounge.
No.
No, I heard about it though.
I hadn't
Everybody's heard about it, but nobody's been to it.
Yeah, I hadn't even heard about it. But it's not in my neck of the woods anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got some kind of tie-in. You can get food and drinks from the restaurant that's right there.
The depot, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a little swanky like hang room.
Yeah, it looks like some Vegas type
Right, yeah.
thing.
I saw a picture of it too, right?
Well, everybody knows about your lounge, but nobody's been there. Well, that's not true. Somebody's been there.
I hadn't heard about it.
And the Mediterranean place behind.
Now that I have heard about, but I
That's
haven't
really
tried it
good.
yet. Is it really good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to try that. What'd you get?
When I went, oh God, I was so high I can't remember. But we went in there. I went in there, just sort of looked at the woman, and I said I want something, and she just gave me some food.
Oh, yeah. That's how these introverts roll, man. They're cruising the strip. Look out.
You need to have an outside voice. That was you talking.
He ends up having way more elaborate interactions with everybody because of his introvert status.
No, because I went when it first opened, and it wasn't supposed to be buffet style, but it was. And that probably what it was. I didn't want to talk to the people. When we went, we thought you went like buffet, get it yourself. But when we went up there, you had to tell them what you want.
Like a Subway or
And
something.
so I
or
was
Chipotle.
like getting like the weed paranoia, and the introvert was all kicking in. I was like, oh, give me something. And I was just like,
Just give me something.
give me something.
Get me out of here.
Hey, here's my wallet. What can I get?
What can I get for this? What can I get for this? It's like Chris' $5 bill.
You can get the hell out of here is what you can do. You and your damn introvert self.
Did you get a pita or a bowl? Do you
God,
remember?
man, I can't remember it, but it was good.
Yeah. It sounded up my alley. When
Stoner restaurant
What
reviews. It was
kind of-
good. What'd you have? I can't remember, but it was good.
What kind of food is it?
Mediterranean.
That's not the lounge. We're talking
No,
about
no,
two
this is
yeah,
different
this
things.
is
yeah.
Helios. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's like where the deli and pub was. It's right to the left.
Okay.
It's like a fancy looking building. I've never been back there before. but it was very good. I think they have something to do with Latin soul, don't they? It's the same owners or something.
Well, it's that time again, folks. Well, somebody on YouTube, Bates, says, Nathan, I saw you play the boxer at the wharf the summer before my freshman year.
Wow.
Wow. Hog, you can buy introvert over the counter nowadays, they say. Hey, welcome to the show, Bates. How about that? Not allowed legally to sing the boxer on YouTube, but next time we're in the same room, I'd be willing to give it a go. In the clearing stand the boxer and the fighter by his trade, and he carries a reminder of every glove in the brother till he cried out with his anger and his shame. I still remember it. I don't know all the words, but that's just checking. It's still in there somewhere.
He would have finished it, but he has ADHD, so he's going to
That's
another
right.
song right now.
I'm about to play you 4 different songs at the same time. Some days are just plumb crazy. Sky of blue. Wait, that's right. Hold on. Some days are just plumb crazy. Sky of green. Grass of blue, and I'm either too excited or too lazy. Either way, I got no idea what to do. But there's one thing I can tell you, babe, that I know to be true. I'm crazy about you. I'm crazy about you. Crazy about you. Most days I feel like such a failure, 'cause all I'm thinking about is my success. And then I'm up all night searching for some measure. What makes one better than the rest? And to get lost in such thoughts is sheer madness. But each day you drop a line to pull me through, and I'm crazy about you. I'm crazy about you. I'm crazy about you. Yeah, there's one thing I can tell you, babe, that I know to be true. I'm crazy about you. I'm crazy about you. I'm crazy about you.
That's a goodie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll see you
like
next
that one.
time. We sure do appreciate you.
Bring all our prisoners home.
Here, here. Aho. We didn't put Grayson in the hot